Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community.
All right, good afternoon. This is July 18th. I don't even know anymore.
It's still June.
June 18th, CFML News Edition of the Modernize or Die podcast. I am your, I guess I would be main host today, Andrew Davis, the senior developer for InLeague, and my co-host today is the lovely Brad Wood.
Yes, I'm a lead architect for Ortus Solutions. So normally you guys get a QB and a redneck. I guess today it's just a redneck and a red head. Is that what we're going to bill it as?
Yeah, you're looking really red today, but hey. Yeah. We're happy you're here. So thank you for filling in. Gavin's still in New Zealand working on his accent.
Yeah.
And so having a good time.
He's going to come back and we won't understand him again.
We won't understand him at all. So, all right, on to the news. Still, one of the hottest topics we have right now is the CF Summit. Early bird registration has been extended to June 30th. So, you have plenty of time to get in there, and $99.
Can't beat that with a stick, man.
No, I won't even try, but it's definitely a good deal. Which brings us into the actual summit is going to be in October the 1st. Now, I've spoke about this on every episode, so I want to let you, Brad, tell the listeners about CF Summit this year.
Yeah, well, CF Summit's one of my favorite conferences just because of the size. It's the biggest Cold Fusion conference that we have. It's over 500 people every year. They have a great after party that Adobe puts on, usually with music and free food and drinks. And one of my favorite parts is being able to pin down the Adobe engineers themselves in person. They're all there on site, and you can bug them about your pet tickets you need fixed or questions about the engine. So it's really just a great place to meet a lot of the Cold Fusion community that doesn't come out to some of the other conferences that happen. So you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, for sure. And that, like I said, that's going to be October 1st and 2nd, which is a Tuesday and a Wednesday. And in conjunction at the same time, you guys, Brad, the Ortus team, are putting on a workshop Thursday and Friday after the conference. So what can people expect of that workshop?
So we're doing a couple options. We've got the Zero to Hero workshop, which we did last year, and we've done it a couple other places. It's a 2-day training, and that's Gavin Picken and Eric Peterson are putting that on. And then, of course, we also have from Hero to Superhero. So if you've already taken the Zero to Hero, or you feel like you're already really good with the cold box, you want some more advanced stuff, the Hero to Superhero will kind of take you on to the next level, and that's going to be the API edition. So Luis Mahano and myself will be leading that one. So we really have the whole kind of range covered as far as whether or not people want to get some intro to cold box, or if they want to really build on. And APIs are super hot right now. Everybody's working on APIs, so that's why we're focusing on that as well for the Hero to Superhero.
Excellent. And it's not going to be at the Mirage. It's actually going to be at a Hyatt Place, which is just a block from the Mirage. A Vegas block. I mean, that's
a Vegas block. It's like a country mile.
Yeah, Vegas block is a good country mile for those that don't understand that reference. But yeah, go ahead. Be sure to sign up for that. And also around the same time before the workshop and before the CF Summit, Adobe's putting on their specialist certification program, and it's going to be done on the 30th. Right now, the pricing of it is $399. That's still the early bird pricing. Haven't received word if that's changed or not. But
is that a 1 day?
Yep, it's kind of it's not just a 1 day deal. I want to say it's a 1 day, then you got to come back and you got to basically prove your code. But there's also prerequisites to it. So it's not just come there and you do it. You actually have homework to do in order to get yourself ready to go. And,
right. And this is the first certification program we've had available in quite a few years now. There used to be certifications for every major version of Cold Fusion, and we really haven't had those. So if your job, you can get better raises or get better positions having an official certification, then you definitely want to miss that. And since our training is afterwards, you can hit both of them if you need to.
Yep, for sure. On to that, what we have next is boot camp in India. And that's still going on, or not still going on, but still going to be talking about it for the next few months. It is October 16th and 17th, and that's in Bangalore, India. And I believe Luis is going to be the one doing that workshop. It's correct me if I'm wrong, Brad. Is it going to be similar to the same ones that they're doing in Vegas, or is this kind of a completely different spin, or do you know what it's about?
I think it's similar to the Zero to Hero going on in Vegas, which is just a kind of a basic introductory workshop into ColdBox. What's nice about our Zero to Hero series is it's focused around building an actual working application. A lot of feedback we got from our trainings where we talk about the features, but people want to actually build something with them because you learn better by doing. So the Zero to Hero was designed around the whole idea of let's build something from scratch, introducing these concepts along the way as we go. And so I believe that'll be that basic Zero to Hero process.
All right. Excellent. So if you are in India, be sure to check that out. Yeah. The next item on the agenda to cover is going to be CF Camp. And now we do have some information for you about CF Camp. The dates are the 17th and 18th in Munich, Germany, but they have made tickets available. And you can go ahead and purchase your tickets. Early bird registration ends July 15th. And the cost of it is, they got it listed as 280 euros. I did a quick look up on that for anyone in the States, and that's about $313. And not a bad deal, but that's good through July 15th, and then the price goes up from there. Now, you were at CF Camp last year, right, Brad?
Yeah, I've been at CF Camp about 3 years now. I haven't hit it every year, but I will be there again this year. If you're stateside, the airfare for CF Camp is kind of the big gotcha. It's not a real expensive conference. The airfare is definitely a little bit. Now, you're going to want, if you're thinking about it, you're going to want to get your tickets soon, right? Sooner than later, because the prices do go up. I'm going to be at CF Camp again this year, and I actually just got my tickets this last week. We've been kind of watching the prices fluctuate. What I always do, or usually, is try to, turn it into a bit of a mini vacation if I'm coming from the States. I'll be coming with my wife and my middle daughter this year, and so we're going to hit, Paris and Salzburg and kind of float around a little bit. So that way it kind of makes the trip have some extra value. Not that CF Camp on its own isn't worth coming, but, going all the way over there, we get to do some sightseeing before or after. So anyway, obviously, if you're in Europe, it's a little bit closer for you, but it's definitely a great conference to go to, even for you stateside folks, if you can justify the airfare for getting there.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably one of those, your wife would kill you if you left without her, kind of like mine. So that's, I'm reading you.
I'm not allowed to go to Germany by myself.
Yeah, I'm reading you. I'm reading you loud and clear. Now, the same thing, Ortus is doing training as well. They're doing pre-conference training. Have you guys decided, or have you guys received, enough feedback yet as to what type of workshops people are wanting?
Yeah, we've almost got that nailed down, but we would like to get any more feedback from any of our listeners who are going to be at CF Camp or thinking about going that would really, really, really value a specific training, be it command box or REST APIs or Zero to Hero stuff, so we can finalize that stuff for certain. If you've got a whole team of people that, you might want to bring and you really want to have an API training, that can help, guide us in finalizing those final topics for that.
Yeah, good deal. And speakers for CF Camp, the deadline for your submission is July 7th. Go ahead and get those submitted if you have not. There's going to be a link for the call to papers in the show notes. So just be sure to check that out if you're interested in speaking.
Yeah, and I believe the first round, isn't it CF Camp this year? They're doing the first round of speaker picks. I don't know if blind is the right word. But the content committee is picking the topics without looking at the speaker names. which I thought was kind of interesting. The goal, of course, to try to get as diverse of content as possible, without, subconsciously favoring people that are maybe more well-known in the community, but just going purely on the merit of each topic, which should hopefully end up in some valuable topics showing up this year.
Yeah, good deal. Excellent. Always interested to see unique approaches to things. Because, to be honest, it does get tiring sometimes hearing the same speaker over and over and over. Kind of like Brad, I just get tired of listening to it. No,
I never get tired of listening to myself, Andrew. I don't know what your problem is.
I don't either. Hang on. Let me turn this mic down just a little bit. But you do kind of get jaded if you go year after year. So it is, I think it's good. You get new people in there. Just hopefully they don't get up there and choke, and everything will be all right.
Yeah, and they've had some cool stuff. Last year at CF Camp, they actually had the German police come. I'm probably saying that wrong, but some police division that focused on cybercrime and stuff, which is really cool. Unfortunately, that session was presented only in German, just based on who the presenters were, but they really do get some interesting stuff in there that's not your typical, Cold Fusion conference topics.
And not to get off topic, I wonder if is Luis doing the workshop in India? Is he going to be doing it in their language? I don't believe he's doing it in Hindi. Okay. I don't know what
Luis speaks a lot of languages, but I don't think that's one of them.
Okay, cool deal. All right. Random. Sorry, guys. All right, so that brings us up to the next segment of our session here called the blogs, tweets, and videos of the week. And we've got a special little screen here for you guys if everything works.
I'll talk about this one since it's mine. Yeah, so I've had a new series of CommandBox and FORGEBOX related screencasts I've been doing. Been trying to trickle them out every week or two. So the latest one I put out this week was on the CF format module. And that's a CommandBox module that I didn't even write. In fact, nobody at Ortus did. John Bergquist made this one. He's made a bunch of cool functionalities for CommandBox. And the CF format module will allow you to format your source code, your Cold Fusion source code, to your syntax standards. So the spacing between parentheses and curly brackets, or spaces around equal signs, or how many parameters in a function call before you put in line breaks. His module will actually automatically format your code. And there's even a watcher where you can have it just watch your files, and as you save them, it'll instantly fix them up. So that's a pretty cool module to have in your toolbox. And so you can check out that screencast that I made that kind of just shows the basics of the CF format module.
All right, good deal. So I had a little bit of issues there. All right, cool. Now we all should be rock and rolling. Technical difficulties. You live, you learn. All right, next up.
They said they could hear me, not you, so I don't see what the problem is.
What can I say? Ooh, big hands. So, who is your daddy? I didn't really want to call it that, but it was kind of funny because Luis tweeted this out that this was actually on Father's Day. So 13 years ago today, I released the first ever conventions-based MVC framework for Cold Fusion, changing my life and the path of many CFML apps. So obviously that was when it was born, but being that it was born on Father's Day, and we all I personally use ColdBox a lot. I thought it was funny. Who's your daddy? Whichever.
You're so clever, Andrew.
I'm so clever. And more goodness from Ortus. You guys are pushing out some content. Tell us about this one here.
We are, yeah. So I finally got around to pushing out CommandBox 4.7. That had kind of been in the pipes for a while. There's no major changes in 4.7. It's just kind of a maintenance release. It's a minor release from 4.6. But it's about half little tiny bug fixes and improvements, and then it's about half little small enhancements. Like one of my favorite ones is if you set environment variables in the CommandBox shell as part of a recipe, and when you run a native binary like npm or git, you can access those environment variables from that native command. That's one of the little enhancements that we pushed into the 4.7 release. So you should be able to upgrade that in place. Just grab the new binary, and that tweet has a link to the blog post that has the full release notes as well. So pretty excited about that release.
Cool. Excellent. Now, is the CLI, has it been updated to the latest version of Java, or is it still behind waiting on Lucy? I know that's not quite related to this, but since we're talking about command box.
Yeah. So if you download the JRE included version, we're still bundling it with OpenJDK 8. And I do recommend using Java 8. The main reason for that is because the CLI is still powered internally with Lucy 5.2, which still has a couple issues with Java 11 that are being addressed. And I can't get the CLI up to Lucy 5.3 yet because there's some regressions there that are preventing me from being able to upgrade. So right now, command box is still kind of stuck back on Lucy 5.2 until I can get those regressions that have popped up in the newer versions all tamped down. And because of that, we're also still kind of stuck with Java 8. So it's a bit of a chain reaction there. But as soon as we can get a Lucy 5.3 version that has all the regressions fixed that are affecting command box, then the very next version I release will upgrade the core Lucy version, which will also allow us to upgrade the Java version. Now, that said, you can still start Cold Fusion servers like an Adobe 2018 server, and you can use Java 11. That's not a problem at all. It's only the core CLI that has some issues with the later versions of Java. So don't think you can't still run, a Lucy 5 or Adobe Cold Fusion server using Java 11. It's only the CLI that's kind of held up in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. Two totally different worlds. So yeah. All right. Next up we have boom. All right. So this one was cool. We talked about this last week with Adobe releasing the bonus update for CF11, and you guys have pushed that to ForgeBox as well. So now as you start a server through command box, if you're using the version 11.019, you have the latest patch. So all those are up there. It's definitely good. Nothing more we need to talk about there, right?
Well, actually, what's interesting is that Cold Fusion 11 is actually out of core support. That happened at the end of April. Mm-hmm. So Cold Fusion 11 wasn't slated to get any more free, I say free, but any more public bug fixes or security patches. So I didn't hear any specific reasoning from Adobe, but I guess Adobe sort of threw everybody a bone. If you're a Cold Fusion 11 user, you got a little gift from Adobe there in that you've got an update 19 when technically you're out of core support. So I don't know if that'll be the last one or if Adobe will throw any more bones to the CF11 users. I was expecting only 2016 and 2018 to get updates at this point. So anyway, always a good thing, right? So thanks to Adobe. They may have decided to do that based on the fact that it was a security update and they still have a lot of users. I'm not sure what the exact reasoning was, but that's pretty cool though that they hit all three of those with updates.
Yeah, definitely. And in the last show there, we definitely thank them for that. It was quite nice of them. And so as part of, we're talking about ForgeBox as well. Man, more releases to ForgeBox. You guys have also released ForgeBox Enterprise. Do you want to talk a little bit about ForgeBox Enterprise? Give a little plug on it.
Yeah, sure. ForgeBox has been around for a long time. We didn't, the site didn't have a lot of active development for quite a few years. It did what it needed to. It was fairly straightforward. But ForgeBox itself has actually turned into a commercial product. ForgeBox will always be free for the community to use, like it always has been. But we have a new product out there called ForgeBox Enterprise. And if you work at a company and you guys want to be able to use, package management for your internal private modules, and you want to be able to have your own kind of dedicated ForgeBox installation, with a custom database that's just purely just for you and your company. We offer ForgeBox Enterprise is basically a hosted ForgeBox instance that is fully dedicated to your company. So it'd be, a custom URL like yourcompany.forgebox.io or whatever, and you would have only your users, only your packages, only your permissions, and this would be a ForgeBox installation that you would have full control over. You would be the administrator of this one. So you could add and remove users. You could have, full access to all the packages to deal with them. And so that's the ForgeBox Enterprise offering that we announced it into the box. And of course, there's also still ForgeBox Pro, which is the community ForgeBox with the ability just to have private packages on it. So with ForgeBox kind of entering into the world of being a product of its own now that we're selling, at least having the opportunity to sell. We've really been iterating a lot of features into ForgeBox. Part of it is just adding a lot of administrative features for people to be able to use in the back end. We've done a ton of user interface updates on the UI. A lot of us using Vue.js, which has been fun and given us a lot of flexibility. So yeah, ForgeBox 4.7. Which it's a complete coincidence that CommandBox and ForgeBox have both hit 4.7. We didn't plan that. I think ContentBox is close to that too. It's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah. So we've had some dedicated resources inside of Ortus just hammering away on ForgeBox, knocking out features, adding functionality, and a lot of that is all with the ForgeBox Enterprise stuff in mind. So it's ready to go for that. Pretty exciting.
All right, excellent. And that almost brings us to the end. We have one more tweet we'll talk about here later. But what we have next on the agenda is going to be the ForgeBox. Talking about ForgeBox once again, but ForgeBox module of the week. And I asked if there was any birthday shout-outs on the YouTube chat, and Dan said Paul McCartney is 76. So Paul McCartney, if by some chance you're listening to this, happy birthday, dearest.
Hey, anything could happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, Scott's got a birthday coming up. Man, that's a month away almost. July 6th. Happy birthday anyway.
All right. Sing happy birthday if you're within a week.
Yeah. Too far gone. So the ForgeBox module of the week is going to be Hyper. Now, for those of you who have followed any of Eric Peterson's modules that he's created lately, like Quick and QB, Hyper is another one of those. And if you've used Quick and QB, this is the way I best can describe it. It's like building a Quick or QB interface for code for the HTTP interface. It's really, really cool. There's actually a part of the cool tools that I had talked about a week or so ago, where it'll actually convert a curl command. So if you have a curl command, it'll convert it to Hyper for you. Hopefully going to be a VS Code extension soon, probably in a couple of weeks. I have actual work to do before I can play with that, but just know that's in the works as well. So it'll
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, basically just take any curl, highlight it in VS Code, run the little command, and it'll convert it to a Hyper format for you. So box install Hyper, HYPER, and go check it out on ForgeBox. And
yeah, Hyper's a great little abstraction. If you do anything we work with a remote API, using HTTP, you find yourself writing like the same CFHTTP call sort of over and over again, with only a couple minor differences, but with the same API key, the same headers, the same URL, the same settings every time. And Hyper lets you kind of create a template for an HTTP call that you can make reusable inside your code. So it's really great for use cases like that.
Yeah, and for anybody who's used Vue.js and like Axios or anything like that, it's kind of very similar, but except for in Cold Fusion.
Except for in Cold Fusion.
Well, yeah, I mean, because Vue.js or Axios allows you to build up that set of default templates, as a variable, and then you just call that. It's all the predefined, the headers, the auth tokens, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because a lot of APIs, like S3 or something, you hit it, and the only thing you're changing is the URL you're passing, but you get the same authentication and everything else on every request. So it just saves a lot of boilerplate. It's nice.
Yeah, it does. It definitely saves you a lot of time there. So the next little thing we have here is going to be our VS Code tips and tricks of the week, and this one here is submitted by none other than Eric, and it is called Pola Code. I'm going to show you a little video of this. There may not be audio in it, but I'm going to show you a little video of it in action. Give me just a second here.
Oh, Polaroid for your code. I get the name now.
All right, so yeah, my audio is here. Brad his is not, but essentially, you can highlight your text. It allows you to create a screenshot and change the size, width, and all that kind of good stuff. looks pretty. Boom. Save it to your desktop. Really good for when you're creating presentations and all, because I don't know how many times I have, and Brad, your audio's back, but I don't know how many times that I've, done code, did a snippet, and even in Mac, Mac's got an easy way of screen capture tool. It's just a pain, honestly, to get all those formatted and looking good in a presentation. So,
yeah, I might use this for docs. So the name's Polaroid for your code. So Polo code, that's where that comes from. That's pretty nice though, because sometimes it's hard to get a good looking screenshot of code.
Yeah, and this kind of like visually helps you build that screenshot. How big is it going to be? Changing the width, dimensions, et cetera, and so on. So yeah, really, really cool. And I want to get back on this screen here. What I want to talk about is this tweet from Ortus. You guys have released a new set of Patreon levels, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Mature Youngling, $50 a month, Padawan, the Jedi Knight, all the way up to, can't see it on the screen here. I wonder, somebody had asked, was Ray Camden involved in naming these? I saw that on a Twitter post.
Yeah, Ray's not the only Star Wars fan, Believe it or not, there are other actual Star Wars fans.
Did not know that. So anyway, that brings us to our Patreon supporters.
So do you need to know the rest of them under Jedi Knight?
Yeah, sure. Spit them out.
So yes, if you just go to the Ortus site, so we got Youngling, Mature Youngling, Padawan, Jedi Knight, then Jedi Master, then Jedi Commander, and finally the Jedi Overlord. So for a mere $2,500 a month, you can be a Jedi Overlord. And of course, each of these levels come with a lot of bonuses. For instance, Jedi Overlord get company name and logo at the top of the sponsor page. You get 2 free tickets into the box. You get a 60-minute video chat with Luisa Mahano once a month. So basically the rewards here is that if you're helping push forward open source projects at Ortus, you get a direct say in what we're doing. So if you're like, we really need ColdBox to do this for us. Well, guess what? You could have a dedicated, video call with Luis every month just to help get your input into it. So we want the people that are helping support the projects the most to help, guide where they go. So it takes community.
Yep, community. And, we have our Patreon supporters up here. No sense in us going through and calling out all the names unless you would like to. Brad, do you want to give it
it's kind of fun to mispronounce a few.
Well, do you want to give it a stab? Since you're the guest host, why don't you? I'll give you. Go for it.
I have Andradavis, I think.
That's the redneck. He's the redneck. Got to watch out for that guy.
No, yeah. So I won't insult anybody by trying to read these, but it's just a growing list. So.
Yep, it is.
We're very thankful every time a new person jumps on that, and the Patreon money goes 100% directly to our open source projects. We funnel it right in there. So those supporters are literally powering hours of development that goes straight into the open source stuff like CommandBox and ColdBox. So we are so thankful for all those people.
Yep, absolutely. And that pretty much wraps up this show. Brad, is there anything else you want to ramble about, or you want to let these fine people go and get back to work?
That's a dangerous question to ask me.
Well, I'm in control. I'll just zip you off.
Enough about me. How do you feel about me? No, I think that's pretty good. I think we've covered all the major things. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the conferences this year. There's a lot of conferences coming up. So that's it.
All right, guys. Stay tuned. See you next week, hopefully.
Bye-bye.
Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernize.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.